Cybebrainer is an online training platform designed to help individuals and teams learn the latest technologies and become certified professionals, producing a comprehensive learning experience.
Typically, the template that I had actually built for Create position. I have just quickly dragged and just put a drag and everything for all the supervised organization. First one is the supervisory orb. I will go to my superorganic, explain it. Makes it easier. Alright. First and foremost, this particular template. Everything, if you see all of these, most values that you see over here are type, will be seen as reference IDs. So this is one topic that I think I had missed explaining to you guys also. So there is something called as reference IDs for every object. For every object, be it a supervised reorganization, location, cost center, condition rules, calculated fields. Everything in Workday has something called as object reference ID or in short reference ID. So I will just quickly touch base on that and then I will proceed on to the rest of the topics. So first, up for every object type, we have something called as reference IDs. So how do I get to that particular reference IDs for my organization? It is directly available over here in the top. In the top it says supervisory_organization 6, 552, 553, 5253. It is just a random number that is actually generated by WorkDate. It's a sequence number which is generated by default. However, if I want to edit it, I can definitely edit it. No hard and fast with that. And this, like I said, this particular reference ID is available for every single object, including worker position, location, company, cost center, calculated fields, condition rules. Every type of object in Workday has something called as reference IDs. And it is unique. That is why, just recalling back to what I was just telling you earlier, sometime back, I can have multiple organizations by the same name, locations by the same name, rules by the same name. The only difference that should be there is your reference ID. Only your reference ID should be distinct. It can never, ever be the same. And how do you actually view and edit your reference IDs for every object? Go to the relevant actions. Go to the related actions, come down all the way. You will see here something called as integration IEDs. And again, integration IDs are nothing but the same. ID is what you will be passing it on to an external vendor when you are sending the data across to a third-party interface. Because every integration or your reference ID is going to be unique. So it doesn't serve any purpose for me to actually send across the name of the supervised organization, or your location, or your calculated field, or your rule. That is why we use something which is unique. And by unique, we can have only one ID, which is one of your reference IDs. Your reference IDs are always unique. And the way I view it is to any object. Not only this, it is available even to the type of my organization. So even to the type of my organization for supervisory organization, I can go to this particular relevant actions over here and I can go to integration IDs. I can view the IDs over here. So for every object, this is this organization type. For organization type, I have an organization type ID, which is called as subbody NIT, which is nothing but the one for supervisory organizations. So for every type of object we have something called as a reference ID. The way I view it is, I go to any object, I go to the menu Integration IDs, and then I go to View IDs. Alright, View IDs. If you see over here it says the value here is reference ID and the type of this particular ID's organization, reference ID. Similarly for a calculated field, you will see the type is calculated field. For a condition rule, you will see this type as condition rule here. For this particular organization type, you see the organization type ID. And similarly, for every object you will see something called as organization reference ID type and the corresponding ID. And in any external integration or inbound integration, an outbound integration or an inbound integration, we always go by only the reference IDs, because reference IDs are always unique. Whereas your object names need not be unique. Hope it makes sense to you. Clear and where we are going to be and the place where you're going to be using this is mostly in your outbound interfaces or your EIBs, outbound EIBs, or inbound EIBs. We are going to be using it over here for any object references. For any object references, we will only be referencing the object by other reference ID and not by the name of that particular object, because reference IDs are always unique. They can never be two objects with the same reference ID. Got it? Clear on those guys. And if you want to edit it the same way, you just have to go to the menu called as Integration ID and say Edit Reference ID. Here it says, Supervised Organization 5962, 5253. If I want to edit it, I can give it something else as well. I will usually give it as the name of the organization. I will say, Test RNBP1. I can give it the way I want to have it as well. Clear. I will just go and edit it over here. The reference ID is edited. Clear on this? Any questions? So if you see here, the organization ID over here is also automatically edited. Only in organizations. You will get it over here. For the rest of them, you need to go to the Integration ID Viewer Reference ID menu. And one more thing I just want to teach you, coming back to reference ID is, if you want to view the reference IDs directly, there is a task which is called as View Reference IDs. Alright. And here I can give any business object that I want. For example, I am giving calculated fields. Okay, calculated fields. I will not get it over here, okay. Let me pick reference IDs for condition, because we have certain other minuses for specific ones. Let's go to maintain reference IDs rather than going to view reference IDs, because viewer reference IDs is going to be a little different. So I would rather pick maintain reference IDs instead of viewer reference IDs. So use of all practical purposes, we have reference IDs, that's better. Alright. So here let me go to Calc Fields. I am there, restricted it in my ways. There is the restricted it. Okay. Okay. Let's better use this, because I'm sorry, because I think there are some restrictions which have been placed over there. So let's use integration IDs task. That's better. So for integration IDs, I just put it like calculated fields. So whichever calculated field that you want to use, just use this particular option over here. Or let's say, the cup-related values. So lookup calculations. So I'm just picking, lookup values or related value expressions.
Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.